Welcome to the first Live Courageously webinar. And this is coincides with the first start of the Live Courageously website, which started today at, yes, live-courageously.com. So welcome. And today's webinar, I have a dear friend who's going to be my guest today, George Ohan. And so I'm going to introduce him in a minute. And we're going to talk about the Live Courageously journey that we've both been on, what the Live Courageously website is about, and what the goals of it is, and what we want to accomplish in the future. I'm going to play a little video for you about Helen Keller has a quote about life is a great adventure. I'm going to play a little bit of a video with a lot of stills of my great adventure in life. We'll answer any questions. Anybody pops on here, and I think we got some guests coming on. Feel free to type in a question, and we'll answer any of your questions. And scrambling to get all this done today. So anyway, let me instead of keep going, I'm gonna throw up one quick picture, and then we're gonna get this started. This is the show for today, and that's my special guest, George Ohan, an Army veteran, founder of the Financial Literacy Film Festival, and many, many more things. So let's bring them on, and let's have our conversation. So welcome to the stage, my good brother George. What's up, man?
Loving life as usual. Thank you for having me, sir.
Well,
how you been?
Good. Well, I figured, today's a kind of special day because, like most of my life, the fact that this website, Live Courageously website, has come about, and I'll talk a little about the story about that, but it wasn't a plan. Most of my life has not been a plan. It's just been doors have opened that I've gone through, and then another door opened, and I go through, and it keeps becoming something bigger and hopefully better. So that's kind of, and I'm going to talk about how this all came about. But before I do that, let me talk to you, because you have a courageous life, being an Army veteran, being a father of 2 kids now, and all the stuff you've done in the film industry. That's how we met. And you, why don't you share that story, and I'll let you take it away for a minute.
Well, we were at the Los Angeles Film School in Hollywood, and I was out there trying to meet everybody I could, and I see this guy over there, and I'm like, who's that guy? I got to meet him. That's John Duffy. Had to walk on over there. What you were talking about living courageously, you just got back from YAP with our good buddy over there, Alex Gilfilly, and that was a project that took years and years to finally work out and make it happen. Almost everything that you've been a part of, you've seen the long-term, the vision and something like that, and I see myself as trying to emulate that. Is I don't go for that quick buck, I don't go for that quick awesome project or something. I just go for something that I feel like it's going to be meaningful, not only to myself, but it'll be something that anybody could be proud of who's associated with me later on down the line. When we look back on this thing 10 years later, it wasn't like, man, that thing was a waste of time. For instance, the flag. Just this Saturday, we were at the Financial Literacy Film Festival, and I got to hand over a bunch of DVDs of the flag to some of the guests. There was 3 firemen there. I gave them the flag, and I explained to them, hey, do any of you happen to know, or have you ever seen the flag folded in a triangle? They said, yeah, of course. Do you know that each one of those folds, before it becomes that end triangle, it has a certain part of significant American history and a certain meaning? And they all have this, the same look that everybody has on their face when I say that to them. And they're like, no, I really didn't. And I'm like, well, it does. And in this DVD, and I said, I hope you own a DVD player. And they're like, yeah, and I handed it over to them. And I said, this is a 20-minute short film. This is not some Spielberg amazing thing, but the story is there, and there's some really meaningful content if you happen to love America. And they're like, give me that. They wanted that DVD. They wanted that thing. And that was this Saturday. We made that film over 10 years ago. And so at that time, I had to be really courageous to say, yeah, Dave Allspock, we'll go ahead and move ahead with this. And I'll invest all this time or energy, and I'll gather up 30 people, and we'll make something of this. I didn't know what would ever come of it. And as time went on and on and on, I started to respect that decision more and more and more, because I started to realize, man, I had this sense of, this is something bigger. It's for a bunch of people. It's not for yourself. But I didn't know that at the time. Looking back on it, you realize that. It's like, that's pretty cool. So,
well, that's the thing you say, because, when we did it, we did it out of service. I mean, you're a veteran. I'm a civilian who supports veterans, but it was an opportunity. We worked with you produced it. You put together a whole group of veterans who got involved, and we all donated our time and our efforts to make it happen. And we didn't realize that it would, keep being a ripple. Like you said, like you give it to people. I give them out. Like I'll meet somebody at an event. I'll give them a copy. And, years later, it still touches people, and it has that ripple effect. And I didn't know we were going to do that, right? It would do that. And it just kind of, that's the other thing. And that's kind of also what Live Courageously means to me, is about service. It's about serving others in different ways. I'm doing it with the website now and with the podcast. You do it in your own unique ways, because, it's like you're educating people about financial literacy, which is such an important thing, because people don't get that in the schools, and you're touching people's lives, which potentially has a ripple in their life. And then you have another program that you've done for years, Teach, Coach, Mentor, which once again works with young people and mentors them and teaches them and coaches them. And that touches kids' lives, and that it has a ripple effect. And you do it for service. So, there's other things, reasons to do it, but it's the service that you do that you get the most out of. So I think that's why, we got connected when you met me that time at LA Film School, and we've been connected with too many years now. I can't even want to think about how many years have passed since we started this, but it's been long.
Feels like yesterday.
It does, and it does. And so, just those things. And then just to kind of give people a little bit of the story, since they're on the webinar. And if the people who are on, please feel free to type us in questions, ask us any questions, make any comments. I will put them on the screen, and George and myself will answer the questions. But, Live Courageously, once again, it was an instinct. It came to me. I was up in Canada doing a movie, producing a movie with Kevin Sorbo, formerly Hercules. He was directing and starring in it. And it was during COVID, and everybody was afraid. The media was telling us that everybody was going to die and be afraid and don't come out of your houses. And they were just promoting a message of fear everywhere. And people were buying. Too many people were buying that message of fear. And so I decided, I woke up at 2:00 in the morning, and I just got this instinct that I said, I got to go against that message. I got to speak out and promote to live courageously and not be in fear. And I said, I know all these people, veterans and ex-police and entertainment people, just a whole range of great people who are not afraid, who are courageous people, who are adventurous people. And I said, I just got to start a show and start interviewing them so I could share that message. And I didn't know it was going to start and it was going to grow to like 75 podcasts. And I didn't know that a bunch of people, a great team, Melissa, Kara, and Thomas, they created my website. They pushed me. They did all this stuff behind the scenes to get me to even go further. Because like I said, I was just going to go on instinct. So it's grown to this. And now I got a website. I got a newsletter that comes out weekly. And it's going to keep growing. We got merchandise on the thing. We're supporting nonprofits who are doing great work, including one certain ministries that rescues children from sex traffickers. And we're supporting things like that and telling people to donate and get involved in making a difference. So that's kind of where Live Courageously came about and why we're here. And that's kind of why I'm doing this webinar tonight as an experiment. I've done podcasts, but I haven't done webinars. And, we may continue to do it if people are interested in the future or not. We'll see. But go ahead. That's enough of me talking for a minute. So
let me ask you a question. Since you've been doing all these interviews, you can't control what people say. Has there been some moments, or has there been a moment where something profound was said that you were not expecting? And I'm, you talk to a lot of people, and this is not scripted, so just think about it. Was there some time where somebody said something and you were like, whoa?
Well, probably more than a couple of times where I've kind of like, because one of the things in interviewing, and my life has kind of always gone full circle. So when I was younger, when I dropped out of high school, but eventually went back to school, I started doing oral history interviews in the Bronx. So I interviewed people who grew up in the Bronx, and we at that time we did it on cassette tapes. I know I'm old, man. Anyway, so but in interviewing people, you listen, and so when I interview people in the podcast, I have ideas to where I want to go with it, but I'm always listening because a lot of times people will say something, and I'll be like, let's go there. And now we're going down a different path than I expected because they opened up something that I hadn't thought about or I didn't know that they were going to address. And then we go to a new place with and that's what's great about, doing those, and they're live. I don't edit them. What you see is.
But has there been something that has some information, something about somebody or some story that sticks out to you yet? Because maybe you haven't had that moment yet.
Well, I don't know. There's a lot of people who have unique stories about different things because I've had a unique group of people, and they've educated me because I don't know the life that they live. Like I interviewed a police officer, Officer Dion Joseph, and he works down in Skid Row, and he's worked there for 25 years with the homeless. And the guy is an amazing human being, but his insights of how you deal with people on the street, both with compassion but also with power. He's not going to let people get away with stuff that they shouldn't get away with, but he loves on them and he tries to change their lives. So, hearing that from somebody who is a model for how you can be, that was very powerful for me, to hear that story. Because, when I grew up, cops weren't my friends on the street. I grew up in the street, honestly. Later, I respected them. Nowadays, I'm older, I respect them, but I didn't when I was young, right? So, but hearing this guy tells you who's an example of the best in policing, who really changes lives on every level. You go, this is who's out there. People need to meet people like that because a lot of times people have their biases if they don't experience it on in his family. They're like, why the hell did you become a cop? I mean, he grew up in, African-American family. They're like, what the hell? Why are you choosing that?
LA, downtown LA, LAPD.
Yeah. And, and he can always leave Skid Row. And he's chosen not to leave Skid Row, even though he can go to a nicer, easier police stations where there's a lot less crime and a lot less chance of him getting killed or hurt. But he wants to serve. He's about service. And that's, that's the thing I think that hit me is that, after 25 years, like you said, we're still, enjoying it. After 25 years, he's still as if he just started with that same passion and that same love for what he does. That's the way to live life.
I bet he's really earned their respect down there too.
Oh yeah. No, he got stories, he tells stories about, people who are mentally ill, but they give him gifts. They just, they love the dude, they just, unfortunately, if any of them pass, he takes it personal. Like it really affects him emotionally because he cares,
Yeah.
and people don't think of police like that because they don't realize they're humans just like us doing a very damn difficult job, especially in a place like Skid Row.
Yeah, and he's seeing these people every day. He's building a relationship with them, and then somebody dies or passes. Yeah, that's interesting. I wrote that down. I'm gonna go back and I saw bits of that, but I gotta check that one out. You
again. Got William Brower from South Florida. Friend of ours is weighing in, saying, "Two amazing gentlemen. Thank you for the kind words." Good evening from South Florida.
William Brower's a renowned Titanic historian, world-renowned, and he's got some books out, and he's one of the leading voices in Titanic history and this type of stuff. So great stuff.
Keep going. Ask me some questions, but I'm gonna play a little fun video in a minute, which is only a short piece of. I put it together 10 minutes ago.
How's the book coming along?
Oh, next question.
I had to bring that up because that's like the black cloud over your head. You get a million things done, but for some reason, Duffy, I don't know what it is. I don't know the roadblock. We have to get Tony Robbins in on this one. But
the show is now officially over.
It's becoming a reprimand scolding session.
Oh my God. Unfortunately, I need it, right? Just a little more pain. No, I've kind of been scrambling with so many things and with this film, but It will be done this year, and it will be published this year. I now made a public pronunciation, and if I say it publicly, I have to do it because I can always make excuses to myself. But damn it, I can't make excuses when I go public.
Next time you're out there shooting hoops, you need to be on that book.
Hey, it's funny you say that, and this is a funny story. So people know who I am. I was teaching a film class, UCLA Extension, last semester, and it was the second semester I taught film production. And of course, basketball, I had my Wednesday night basketball. So, but I was supposed to teach my class on Wednesday night. So what did I do? I found a way to be on the basketball court using Zoom, teaching the class while I was played basketball. At halftime, I'd go out and finish the class, go back and play basketball. Everybody's like, you are freaking crazy. I'm like, yeah, I know. But hey, I got to play basketball, man. So,
terrible. That's not right.
I know. The students had no idea that their professor was on a basketball court while he was teaching them the class. Here's howdy from South Carolina, Greg Wilson. Hey, welcome, Greg. Just a quick note. I did a movie down in Aiken, South Carolina, A Sunday Horse. Loved it down there. The people were great. Aiken was a great community. I don't know what part of South Carolina you are from, but that was one of my highlights of my film career. So welcome to you in South Carolina. A couple other people weighing in. KP, y'all KP from Fresno, looking good and sounding good, gentlemen. Now, speak on KP. He's been blowing it up in the last year with his acting career, but speak on him, George.
KP, he's the sensei. He got me started in the film career. I went and took one little class that he was having in Fresno, and I was like, man, this guy's motivating me. He's inspiring me here, and it was just a little film class, a little downtown Fresno Tower District. And all of a sudden, a couple months later, I'm moving to Hollywood. But so far, recently, KP's been having great success. He's been on Netflix on the Dahmer Show. He's of Laotian descent. And so, for that community, to have some representation like that is really, really huge. And he's still offering classes. He still does film. He still does acting. He still does coaching right here in the Central Valley in Fresno. So wonderful connection, but also a good human to know. Just as a person, you don't have to be trying to make it in Hollywood. You could just be trying to step your skills up for something else. Maybe you're just trying to make a small business video and you want some acting skills. What a great local resource to have. So really, really amazing.
Yeah, KP's great, man. It's been always cool being involved with him. And once again, his acting career has taken off and blown up, and very talented on so many fronts. So shout out KP, man. Thanks for joining us, brother. Another question. William says, I'm ordering an autographed copy when it comes out. Hey, William, did George set you up to say that? Now the pressure's now the pressure's growing on me, man. Oh, come on now, guys.
I did not set him up to say that. Oh, by the way, William Brower won. His script won the best script of the Financial Literacy Film Festival. People voted on that, and his script was the winner. Just a quick note on that.
I saw that on his page. Congratulations, William, and thanks for the pressure, but you got the autograph copy.
Ooh, that was good. That was good.
I got a 1-2 punch on that one. So keep going. Before I play this little fun little clip I just threw together about 15 minutes ago in the middle of pre-production on this movie I'm working on. But ask me other questions.
So, Duffy, when you meet somebody at all these little mixers and networking events, and they're like, yeah, man, yeah, I'm going to call you, and they give you a pitch. They tell you all these things, and you think this guy he's going to call you, and they never call. What do you think happens?
Well, once again, I think everybody has great intentions. And, some people, like you, when you met me at the LA Film School, I knew right away, a lot of people met me. And they're not in my life today, but you are. But the way you came, I knew the difference was you weren't just about talking, you were about action. So, there's a lot of people who have good intentions. They want it. They're gonna, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go to the gym tomorrow. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. But they just don't do it. They don't get the follow up. They don't take the action. So I learned a lesson, like, if I want, like I met this weekend, I was down with Kevin Major Howard, who was in Rafter Man and
Yep.
that movie back
Full
in the
Metal
day,
Jacket.
Full Metal Jacket. And he also, did all these 9/11 cars called Fueled by the Fallen, that he built, all these cars with the names of all the people who died in 9/11. So he's an amazing guy. So I went to an event with him and I met these people who did a documentary that he's in called Through the Storm. And they're also Irish. They come from Dublin and they're Irish musicians and they're really great singers. But they gave me, I gave them my card. But then I went, you know what? I'd love to have you on my podcast. But then I went, give me your card. Because I was like, I know just in case they didn't reach out to me, I'd reach out to them. So, but they did. They reached out to me sooner than I got to reach out to them, and I was like, okay, these are action guys. They make it happen. So they're going to be on my show in 2 weeks. So that's the kind of people you just. But
what do you think lacks though? Why? A lot of people, they want to be the action person, or they think they are, but what's that disconnect? What do you think is that one thing that's missing internally in a person that makes them not take that step?
Well, I think you got to make a decision of what's important to you. And if it's not important, if you don't make that decision, you're not like, it's like they always say New Year's resolutions. Usually none of them happen because it's not really a decision. This is what I'm going to do. It's almost like a wish. They're almost like hoping that it'll kind of somehow happen.
Cross my fingers.
Yeah, I'm going to get in shape, and then Monday comes and it's like, oh, I can't go to the gym because da 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 da, and it just goes on, and then of course it's gone. But if you make a commitment, and that's the whole thing about Live Courageously, it's got to be about action. You got to make a commitment. And I know when I was in DC, we went down with the flag and we represented the flag down in DC at the GI Film Festival. And when we came back to the room where we were, you were on your computer hitting emails to all the people that gave you their cards. So you had that follow through. And I think if people are committed, that it's important to them, important enough to take action, then you take action. And if you're not willing to commit to something, then you're just never going to get it done anyway. So it's just kind of like, why don't you just admit you're not going to do it, right? But I think it's kind of getting people to realize that it's all about making a decision and then taking action. And then you'd be surprised what you can accomplish when you do that. Just, you may not get everything you want, but you're going to get more than if you don't take action.
Yeah, that's great. It's a lot of we're surrounded by creative people, very intelligent people, people with great intentions, but a lot of things fall through. And sometimes I've been fooled myself, and I'm pretty good at trying to identify if something's real or not. But even by the best of them, they've lacked follow through on certain projects or certain things at certain times. And so that's something that, as you're living courageously, it's something that you have to watch out for.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, let me play this thing real quick. It's just kind of wild. A picture journey through my, and it's only, like I said, it's a little clipping of my life. But I'm going to see if I can grab it up here. And the question is, can I grab it up here? I think I can. Let's see if that works. Can you see that, George? Screen? George?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay.
And then,
John Duffy here with Live Courageously. And Helen Keller has a saying that says, life is a great adventure or it's nothing at all. And right now I'm going to go through my great adventure with a bunch of pictures, not in any order because I didn't have time to organize it, but I'm just going to run you through some of the great adventures that kind of feeds into why I have a Live Courageously podcast. So with that, here we go. All right. So that's a little bit of a.
That was
Uh-oh.
cool.
Let me get rid of this. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Stop it. Stop it. All right. Let's get rid of that screen. And there we're back. So that's a little bit of some of the journeys. One that I did with you, of course, in Washington, D.C. with the GI Film Festival. Us and with our Blues Brothers sunglasses.
That was cool.
Yeah, so let me throw this guy's comment up and see what it is. I have to run teaching and marketing class. Please email me at share media service. The format on your new website is not set up correctly for mobile and tablet. All right, I'll walk you through the process. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Greg. Have a great one. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Greg.
Let me just get rid of that. And then fun to see some of your stories in photo. Risa is thank you, Risa. Very kind to you. Risa was one of my guests on my podcast this Sunday, who has a book out, and go watch my interview with her. Powerful interview, powerful story, and so it was on Sunday, and it's on my podcast show. So definitely go check her book out on Amazon, Risa August, and you can also go to her website. But thank you for those kind words, Risa. So
Dude, that was cool. It was like a 3-minute John Duffy music video. I was like, who line produced this thing?
Well, clearly somebody with too little time to be able to make it really. I was like, I was going to put it in order. I was going to do all these things, good intentions, which gets back to the question you asked, when am I going to write my book? Thanks a lot. That's why I'm struggling here, man. But yeah, it's been a hell of a journey. I'm always blessed by, I say I'm so blessed by the fact that I get to do what I do. Because I look at myself still, I'm like a kid from the South Bronx, I dropped out of high school when I was 15. How the hell did I go on this journey, man? God clearly had a bigger plan for me than I had for myself, because I shouldn't have been on this. I should have been on a different journey that probably would have taken me to prison, but I didn't go that way. So
no, you started to make decisions for yourself, and it turned out good for you. It turned out when you trust your own instincts and yourself, you're okay. And when you stopped allowing yourself to be influenced by everybody or nobody, things changed, and it's still turning out better and better and better. We're not at the end yet. We're still going. That's the beauty of it. Right now, just like you, I got a million ideas. So it's like, yeah, here's a little bit of this, there's a little bit of that. And the unfortunate part is some things will suffer. Like maybe that video suffered, but in other parts, it looks like it's the top notch, best of the best, whatever it is, because that's what needed that. And the video, you're like, so what? I'm already doing these other 5 million things. This video is just something to plug in there. It's good enough, and it's good enough for me because it's better than anything anyone else has. So here you go. And for me too, I had to do that a bunch of times. I don't like it because things suffer, but I know more attention and more energy went to something that was more important to me. And, right now, just because you saw this display of whatever artistic creativity or whatever it was, maybe you just saw my limitations of technical expertise, but you didn't actually see the limitations of what I accomplished,
Right.
So at least you put it out there before. Just like the book thing, somebody's out there thinking about making a 3-minute video like that for probably 5 years now, and they're watching yours and they're like, damn. Yeah, just like that. I need something just like that. And that's it, because they're trying to pitch themselves or they have this idea, and that's all they need is a little 3-minute video with photos in it, and they're not doing it.
Well, that gets back to where we were before, is like, always taking action is so crucial because, ideas are great. I have a bucket list that, that's going to take me to at least another 150 years.
It's a big bucket.
Yeah, it's a big bucket. And I got to, all the things I want to do in my life is like, and I realize I won't and I can't because I don't have another 50, 60 years, of full out effort. So I'm going to focus on trying to get the ones that are most important to me. And that takes a little effort to do, like the book, because that is important to me. And I also, I wrote a screenplay and I'm going to make that into a movie this year and next year because it's not something I wanted to do. It's something I had to do. And that's a lot of the things in my life. It's like, I have to do this because it's going to impact people. It's going to serve people and make a difference. So I need to get, serious and make it happen, as opposed to things that I just want to do. So it's, so I got a couple of things on my agenda for this year and next year. But part of it is growing this whole idea of live courageously, because I just think, once again, the message came to me and I was just, everybody needs it now more than ever, because we're going to go through crazy times and maybe even crazier times. COVID was crazy. Who knows how crazy it's going to get. And, you got to find a way to, in the middle of crazy, take care of your family, take care of your friends, make stuff happen and make a difference in the world as best you can. You can't control everything. You can't control everything that the world throws at you. That's okay. We'll deal with it and we just keep moving forward.
Speaking of moving forward, artificial intelligence. Okay. Would you do this, Duffy? Think about it. They have this little AI thing now. It makes your eyes move as fast as whatever it is to read for reading. So you can read about 100 books in an hour.
And the question is,
would you implant anything artificial into your body to be able to read 100 books in 1 hour?
No. Okay. Not me.
Okay.
Not me. So, because, artificial, and I don't know, I've been studying artificial intelligence a little bit. The way I look at it is it has good, bad, and ugly. And, there's good in it, clearly. There's bad in it, and there's ugly in it. And it's hard to see which is going to be dominant, because
ugly
is maybe what's going to, because, well, if the machines become such that they have the ability to kill humans and start killing humans.
Well, if they're built by humans, most humans that are doing with the building are ugly, so they have that they think that way. They think ugly.
And if it makes life worse for, if it makes life better for some people, which it will, and usually for the elites, the ones who already have a great life, it'll
Yep.
make it even greater for them. Well,
Hmm.
I'm not down with that. If it's going to make life better for average folks, then I'm down with that. But I'm not, so it has those elements, and we have to be aware of who's programming it, for what purpose, who is it serving, and what value does it really have at the end of the day? Because if it doesn't serve the people, the average folks, then it ain't good. It's not helping us. It's something that's gonna be something else that we have to stand against, I think.
Okay, so imagine this: it's an AI chat box or a chat bot, and an AI language model. That's all John Duffy information. So anything I answer, it would answer me as if it were John Duffy.
Once again, at the moment, my answer is no, because I think, and somebody, well, first let me just answer one thing. Risa, thanks for saying fun to see some of my story and photos. Yeah, one of these days when I get a little time, I'm gonna actually organize it in a way that tells the story, but that was not today. But thank you for that. And then here we got Katrina saying, not a chance. I guess that's to your question.
I
She
love my little
loves her
dyslexic friend.
dyslexic brain the way it is. And
Katrina.
right on, Katrina, because I'm in that same place as you. We're imperfect. We're humans. We're imperfect. There's some people that would like to get rid of imperfect people. I have a friend who's written a story. She is disabled, and she wrote a screenplay, and she's a talented actress. And she wrote a story about how back in World War II, in Nazi Germany, they were trying to at first get rid of the disabled people. So AI is maybe another pass at that philosophy. That if you're not valuable because you got limitations, or your whatever those may be, why do we need those kind of people? And I'm like, no, I'm not. That's not in the benefit of humanity. That's in the benefit of certain people, probably money and greed, and it's not in the benefit of humans. So we all got, and being dyslexic, so what? Some of the I work with a director and a writer, Stephen J. Cannell, who produced so much great TV back in the day, including I forget I'm blanking on the TV show that he did. He did so many TV shows, but he was dyslexic, and he was one of the greatest writers. He wrote, like, I don't know how many, 20 novels. So who we are is who we are, and that's okay. We got strengths, weaknesses, and that's part of the package. So I'm cool with that. I don't need the machine to do it for me. I'd rather write my own book this year than the machine write the book for me, because then who gets the credit? The machine? Hey, that's not my story. It's the machine's story. At the end of the day, it's not mine. So I got to do the work, and then if I do the work, either it's going to be good or it's going to be okay, whatever. But I did it. I put in the effort. I made the contribution. So
Well, I just want you to know I am an AI avatar of George. George is sleeping on the couch right now.
so right away, having said that, you're exactly proof of why we don't like AI, because this AI comes on this show and starts harassing me. That's why I don't like AI, man.
Where's your book, Duffy?
Exactly. Where's your book? I'm going to eliminate you if you don't write the book by next week, Duffy.
Oh, my goodness.
Too funny, man.
Let me ask you a question. Right now, Hollywood, Los Angeles, the state of things, that they have the strike, COVID, all this other stuff. The newest normal, what are things looking like, just as far as filming, productions moving forward, studios, casting? What's the overall 360 of the industry? Touch on a little bit of it.
Well, I'm limited. I consider myself more of an outsider than an insider in the industry, right? And I'm okay with that. Obviously, I've done close to 50 feature films, but I don't consider myself an insider on any level. So I look at it from an outsider's perspective in a way. And I think it's, like anything, we're going through great changes, just like AI. We don't know how that's going to affect anything in the world, including our industry, because part of what it could do, it can make things easier to get done and make things happen faster. but then it will get rid of humans who do jobs. So now you get rid of people who have talents. Now they're not able to contribute, so they'll be useless and not needed. So I don't like that idea, but that's possible. The other side of it is the industry is changing and the audience is changing and the world's changing. So a lot of the content that the studios have put out are not doing very good at the box offices. The companies are losing a lot of money because a lot of, I think, the content that studios in particular create is for themselves inside the bubble that they happen to live in. And that bubble, they don't know real people. They don't know people, blue collar people, middle class people. They don't know people in rural areas. They don't know people, in a lot of places. And they don't know what those stories that those people want to hear, watch, and see. So they're telling stories about themselves to themselves. Hollywood's made up of, in my opinion, probably, more narcissists than anywhere else on the planet.
No.
So, yeah, I know. That's shocking. I know that's shocking, but
you don't say.
But that's the downside. Now, to the credit, some of them are very creative people, and there's some creativity, and they can't knock that. But at the end of the day, the industry's changing, the country's changing, content is changing, and once again, it's all about what you can control. I've been lucky to work on a lot of cool movie projects with people I like to work with and do some good content, some uplifting stories, some positive material. So that's kind of what I like to do and be in that world. I never was in the studio world, and I'll never be in the studio world. And, that it is what it is. I have no aspirations to it per se. I love what I do. And I love the fact that every time I do a movie, it's the people I get to work with that I enjoy. That's matter of fact, I'm working one on now, and one of the young men who's working with me was recommended by you to me. And it's great because he's like family, and so that's the other side of what happens is I get to work with people, and then my family keeps growing. When I was a kid, I had my brother and my mother, and now I just have a giant family. So, I said, hey, if I wasn't born into one, I might as well create one. So that's what we're doing.
Yeah, it's hard to get rid of these weird film people, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh my God. Stories. I have a thing that I always put out on Facebook, which may turn into a book too. But first I got to write the first one because I don't want to get harassed about the second one before I write the first one. But I do the thing on Facebook. I got stories. And so I always share these stories because I come across just my life is just like going to Yap, through meeting you and then meeting Alex skillfully. Here's a guy from an island that has 15,000 people on it in Micronesia, in a place that I never knew existed. And they're living like people lived 150 years ago. And here I get to go there and meet all these great people. And I meet the chiefs, and I play basketball. Of course, I always got to play basketball in the middle of the forest with the kids, and you just go, man, I got stories, and I just keep getting more stories. So that'll be another book.
That was cool. That was cool. As you were telling that story, I was thinking about like a ripple, like your ripple goes far. And it's like KP introduced me to Alex. Alex, I introduced you to him, and all of a sudden you're over there experiencing this thing that most humans on Earth will never come close to experiencing, like the Yap Islands. So that human connection, if it starts good, it keeps going good.
Yeah, and all of those connections, you and KP and Alex, all great people. And once again, going back to why we say live courageously, and why we say, taking that trip to Yap wasn't easy. It was a big investment of time. It was a big investment of, just travel. I mean, I had to go from 3 different planes, 24 hours of travel. And I resisted it. I wasn't even listening to my own message. I was like, no, I don't think I can do this, Alex. I was putting up a lot of resistance until my brain kicked in and slapped me and said, look, say yes, just say yes. And then you'll see what happens. And you'll work it out. And it is what it is, and And so I'm glad I said yes, because I got to have that adventure that if I said no, I wouldn't have had. And, and yeah, it was downside. It was a lot of travel, man. But it was more worth it than it was a downside. That's for sure.
I was moping around that whole week. I was like,
because you were supposed to go with me, I know, but it didn't work out, and there was all kinds of complications.
My wife kept asking me, "What's wrong?" I was like, "Nothing. Duffy's in Yap." Nothing. Duffy's in Yap.
Oh man, and for people who don't know, if you look it up, I was messing around with people because I kept saying, "Guess where I'm going? Guess where I'm going?" And most people couldn't guess because 99% of the population have never heard of that place.
Yeah.
And when you even look it up on Google, it takes a little work to find to see the island because it's like a speck in the water of the freaking Pacific. So yeah, it was. But once again, here, George, and this is for the people who are listening, and we do have people watching and listening. Thank you, everybody, for hanging in with us on this, because doing this, I had no idea if anybody would come, because I didn't have a chance to promote it as much as I was supposed to and all that good stuff. But, you go to the island of Yap, and I met people over there that I'm going to have on my podcast show, because I always run into interesting characters. I met a guy, he had a T-shirt on. He was in the, we flew a small plane into this a smaller island where only 100 people live. And we're on the island, and they're unloading rice off our plane so that they can put people on the plane. I mean, you're like, okay, this ain't LA, folks. And the guy's got a T-shirt that goes, the T-shirt straight out of Compton. So his T-shirt was straight out of COVID. So I was like, okay, in the middle of this island in the Micronesia, who is this guy? So I went over and I said, hey man, what's your story? And he starts telling me. So he worked in the Peace Corps in Yap, and he fell in love with the people there. And now he's back as a nurse working in the hospital. And it's a guy from LA, a Mexican Puerto Rican brother from LA, great guy. And he's serving. He's over there serving. And so the pilot who flew me, he used to work for United Airlines. He's over there flying, and he gets paid like, I don't know, $12 an hour as a pilot. And I'm like, why? He said, because I'm of service. I'm making a difference in these people's lives. He said, I could get paid a lot more money with United, but it wouldn't matter. This matters. And I'm like, wow. And that's I always meet those kind of people. And I'm like, you got to be on my show. Of course, they always say, yeah. And some of them will end up and some won't follow up or whatever. But just great people out there, and I just keep running into them. And that's why I was so glad I made that journey.
Man, that's so cool. And I know something great is going to come of it. And I want something great to come of it for Alex. He's been working really, really hard to try to piece something together. And, when you're looking for money for a project, when you're putting together a documentary, there's a lot of hurdles. And money's obviously the biggest hurdle. But then besides the money, there's politics involved. And, we're not talking about Republican, Democrat politics. There's a lot of business politics involved. So anytime you see somebody getting excited about a project, getting something going, it might happen, it might not. And we're part of the industry where we know it might happen and it might not. So for you to at least make it all the way to this point where you were there scouting it out and talking at a school to kids about film, a producer from Hollywood going to Yap and talking about film to kids. That's amazing. That's so cool.
Well, there was such a funny moment that I got to tell the story. But before I do that, I want to just shout out to El Patrick, a good friend from Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. Hey, man, El Patrick, thanks for checking in, brother. But anyway, when I'm over there with speaking at the school, and I'm up there with Alex, and Alex is a big dude, right? Looks like a Samoan wrestler. He's like 300 and something pounds, right? He calls me his big brother. I'm like, how can I be your big brother? I'm your little brother, right? So we're speaking to all these high school. We spoke to like 300 high school kids. I spoke, he spoke. Encouraged them, motivated them, told them about being courageous and going for their dreams, and just giving them some inspiration. From two very different guys, right? So at the end of the talk, George, it was hilarious. So I got to share this because so Alex gets up. I bring him back up after I finish my talk, and he points to me and he goes in front of all these class. And the kids there are very shy. They're not outgoing like American kids, right? So they don't talk. It was hard for me to encourage them to engage with me. But so he points at me, he says, "What is he?" And they look at him like, I don't know. They don't know what to say, right? They're not going to talk anyway. He says, "What is he?" He asked them again. They won't say something. He says, "He's white." And so I looked at him and I laughed. So then he goes, points to himself. He said, "What am I?" And they're like, and then he goes, "What am I?" And they look at him and they don't know what to say. He says, "I'm brown." He says, "Now say it after me. What is he?" And they go, "White." And I laughed, and then he goes, "What am I?" And they go, "Brown." And he goes, "Exactly." He says, "Now both of us are here sharing our lives with you." He said, "But what happens if either one of us get cut? What do we bleed? We bleed red." He said, "So what are we? We're the same. We're the same, and we're here to encourage you to be the great kids that you can be." It was such a powerful moment, man, to have that. These two unlikely people from the South Bronx, and from my parents from Ireland, and him from Yap, and sharing that with those kids.
Dude, you got lucky. He could have said he's white and a bunch of spears come out.
These kids were so great. And you know this with Teach Mentor. We got this one young girl. She came because I encouraged them to talk. And I understand the culture that's very laid back. But this one girl got up and she came over and she asked me a question after the class was over. And I said to her, "What got you to get up?" And she said, "Well, you said live courageously." And she said, "I'm shaking right now." She said, "But I had to do it." And I went, wow. I'm like, "You are such a brave young girl."
That's cool.
I said, "That's what you need to keep doing, because you're going to step and go forward because you're willing, because you're afraid." I said, "Of course you're afraid. Talk to this guy. I'm this weird dude from Hollywood, right?" But she was a brave young girl, and now she's going to walk away with a message to do that in the rest of her life. And who knows how that's going to turn out.
Dude, that is so cool. That really is. It's like she's telling you, "Hey, I'm shaking right now," but you're like, "But you're doing it."
That's right.
Dude, that's awesome.
Well, we actually interviewed her on camera. Then I said, "Can I interview you?" And she was like, "You see the hesitation." She was like, "Now, should I got up and ask this question? Now they want to put me on camera." And I said, "You don't have to, but if you would." And she said, "No, I think I have to do it because that's how we move forward," like you said.
Wow.
Great. So we interviewed her, and she talked about the dreams that she had in life and what she wanted to do. And it was one of those powerful moments. And you just
she's going to do something in life. I already know it. She is, because of that.
Yes, absolutely. So, if nothing else, I look at life that way, George, and you know me. My thing was, if nothing else, that moment was worth everything for me.
Yeah.
That was worth the whole trip. Just that moment.
I just learned. I'm learning about that right now, and it's impacting me. It's really affecting me. That's so cool.
Yeah. So, and we got a couple more people weighing in who I want to bring up. Karina, she says, "Hi, boys. Hope you guys are doing fantastic. Keep fulfilling your dreams. It's been a while." Hey, Karina, a good friend from up in the Fresno area. Yep. Thank you for joining us, and hope you're doing well, and hope you're doing great. And I also want to give a shout out to Karina, because Karina came to George's events up in Fresno that I spoke at, and also was courageous and willing to step up and help and do stuff. So definitely a courageous woman. So thanks for joining us, Karina.
Creative writer too.
Yeah. So thank you. Next up, from Texas, John, you're really rocking your dreams. Hey, I'm just doing the best I can, man. It's David's a great guy. Thank you, David, for the kind words, man. And now I'm going to put this up. I just read the beginning of it, but I didn't get a chance to read the whole thing. But this just kind of echoes the point I just made. So Karina says, "I was so nervous when I first spoke to you, John, but you are so comfortable and inspiring to be around. So you keep encouraging the youth to get up and speak out." Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Karina.
Awesome.
And I remember, and I knew you were like, definitely it was scary for you to do that. I knew it. But you kept going. You didn't step away. You kept going and you kept pushing. And so, that was why. And then we stayed, communicating after that because of that. But, that's the way we move forward. Not just you, because I think, I don't know if I told the story, but I'll just tell it. When I was a 17-year-old teenager in the South Bronx, I remember the first time I went to this little meeting of some people who were trying to organize against heroin in the neighborhood. And we had to get up and introduce ourselves and say why we were at the meeting. So I got up and I just stumbled on my name. I couldn't even get my name, John Duffy, out. I was so terrified and so shy to speak in front of a group of people. You know, I mean, and to think that, so just like Karina said, I was that nervous kid at that time in my life too. And somehow I went from that to this because I kept pushing myself out there and getting over it. And that's what you did. So congratulations to you, Karina, for doing that. One more coming up. Michelle, another dear veteran friend out of, where's Michelle nowadays? We're
Los Angeles and Texas, back and forth.
Texas, that's right, Texas, right around the El Paso area, I believe.
Yep.
Right. Michelle, great interview, great conversation. You know, thank you, Michelle, and you've been helpful. And Michelle's does great stuff with writers, and she has helps people with their scripts and does seminars and trainings and everything.
Michelle was the entire behind the scenes of the Financial Literacy Film Festival. Everything that had to get done, I'm texting, I'm emailing. I'm like, Michelle, solid business partner. That's all I got to say.
She's excellent, and thank you. And Michelle gave me a little positive feedback, which was encouraging. And thank you, Michelle, on the film script that I wrote called "Goodbye, My Friend," which is based on a true story of a former girlfriend of mine who died of AIDS in New York, and I was with her when she died, and that was like a life-changing moment in my life that led me to California. So Michelle had read the script and gave me some notes. I got to do another rewrite on that besides writing the book, George. Anyway, what else? Risa, I second that, Karina. Thank you, Risa. And Michelle says, yes, El Paso, Texas. Yeah, and I got to scout the military base in out there in El Paso. Was it Fort Bliss? Is it Fort Bliss? Mm-hmm. I think it's Fort Bliss. And we were looking at the time to do a movie that was set over in Iraq. So I got a chance. And they also invited me to come speak at the El Paso Film Festival. So I got a chance to do that as well, which was both great experiences. Met some great people in El Paso. So what else? Let me just throw up some other people because this is cool. This is so freaking cool. I just want to say that because, you know, I do the podcast. I speak with one person. Occasionally I'll bring in comments, of course, but I have to stay focused on the person I'm speaking because it's a podcast show. So I've never done a webinar where everybody's coming in with comments and questions. And I'm just loving it because I'm just kind of going, wow, I'm so blessed with such great people that I know in my life. And so this is just so cool. Let me see what else. Put that up. I won't even read that. I'm just going to leave that up there and say thank you, Michelle. That's very kind of you. Sure. Very kind of you. And Michelle says the story is simply incredible, very moving, and she's responding to the script I wrote. And I performed it, and George knows the script because I remember telling it to George in a bar in Washington, D.C. Mm-hmm. And I remember when I told him the story about that, and I performed a one-man performance piece that I also did for Runaway Kids in Hollywood based on Goodbye, My Friend. And that was a very powerful, another one of the incredible, powerful moments in my life. Let's see who else is jumping in. Fort Bliss, yes, Fort Bliss, indeed. Karina, you're doing fantastic. John and George can sit there and look. George can sit there and look pretty.
Thank you for the compliment.
It's his AI. It's not him. It's his AI.
Thank you, Karina.
Too much fun. Too much. I'm having too much fun. I don't want to go back. When I get off of this, I got to go read 350 emails for this production. Oh, maybe I'll stay on this all night. I don't know.
Oh yeah, you're not trying to get out of here at all.
They're texting me going, can you do it? Can you get on the phone? I'm like, no, I'm busy. Blessed to be surrounded with some of the most amazing leaders. Oh, thank you, Karina.
Katrina's a boss.
Oh, here we go. Here's another dear friend. Better late than never. All right.
You're a Green Beret. You show up anytime you want.
In the house. Dave is
producer.
a very cool veteran brother who went to George with the movie The Flag, and George produced it and put the team together. And then I was going to line produce it, and then their director fell out, so I ended up directing it as well. But yeah, Dave's a great guy. Dave is also putting pressure on me to come down to Louisiana, which I've never been to before, or New Orleans. So that's another thing. I don't know. I went all the way to Yap and I didn't go to Louisiana. I'm sorry, Dave. Don't hate me, brother.
I told Dave I'm a producer, but I was still in film school, and and we're taking a meeting on Hollywood Boulevard in La Brea at Tiago's Cafe, and he's like, I was like, yeah, I'll make this movie The Flag with you, sure, I'll agree to it. And he's like, hang on, let me call Frank Stallone. And I'm like, no, don't call Frank Stallone right now. Hang on, let's put some more pieces to this,
And and Frank, of course, telling stories. I mean, we interviewed Frank in the film Stallone, and then years later, I work out at Gold's Gym in Venice, and Frank's always over there, so I get a chance. We talk, and great guy, talented musician, and all around good guy. But it's funny, like you said, how those connections get made, and Dave created the connection with Frank. Me and Dave went when Frank played up at this Italian restaurant in the Valley, and we gave a copy of The Flag to Frank Stallone at the time. So and once again, all these things that have happened, I'm like, I almost feel like somebody's been writing a fiction with me in it. I don't know how this is happening.
There's so much in between stuff that people, it's hard to sit there and keep talking about all the stuff that happened, because even during this, we met up at the Legion, John Voight's there, and then we go to DC, and then that, there's just a lot of stuff. Louis C. Simon, great human right there.
Yes, indeed. And Louis, and just, he's been doing stuff that I've been helping him. I'm on the board with him. He has a young women's summer softball league that he's doing, and he's also going to do a professional young women's league, softball, and helping young women, inspiring them. He did it during COVID when all these people were locked in their house. He was out there with these young high school girls going on to college, or college girls. I think they were college girls, but he was playing softball with them and put a league together, and just, was able to give them encouragement, inspire these young women to be leaders and to step up in life. And, so once again, a great guy. So let me just put up some more things. Dave says that was Vibratos. Yes, Vibratos in the Valley, Italian restaurant, great restaurant, great food, great people. And then I'm just trying to follow your footsteps. Hard to Live by LOL. Yeah, except for one thing. You both inspired me. Is that, Lou, we did some filming recently for this organization, Cert Ministries, and they were training operators to rescue kids. Part of the training was like military training with climbing, carrying wounded people, doing everything. And Lou had the camera, and he was running up the mountain in front of these guys who were struggling to get up the mountain. He's running backwards. I'm like, yo, Lou, they were impressed. They were like, this guy is bad, man. So Lou inspired them and inspired me that day as well. So good shout out to you, Lou. George has been a pusher. He will go above and beyond just to make it happen. That's definitely helped me in my life. Very true. Very true. And that's like to go back to what we started earlier, who people may have been not on, but his programs, Teach, Coach, Mentor, and financial literacy, and others that he put on, all of them have been to serve others, inspire them, encourage them to do stuff with their lives, and teach them. And so, always been a role model for that. So that's why I think I didn't know, when I picked George, I was just like, yeah, he's great. I'd love to, I know we're going to have a fun conversation, but I didn't know it was going to turn into all this. So obviously my instincts once again were right. I picked the right person to do this first webinar with. So
good casting. You're welcome. Good casting.
Good casting. Yeah. Well, definitely good casting. There's nothing else to say but that. And what is this? I can't wait to wear Live Courageously apparel and shoes. Hey, right on. So I'm going to put up in a minute my my website for people to look at. And I just want to once again shout out to the team behind me because they encouraged me. They created this for me because they were like, "Well, you need a website." I'm like, "I do." They're like, "Yeah, you do. We'll put all the podcasts on it. We'll put your newsletter on, and then you need some merchandise." I do, and they're like, "Yeah, you need merchandise." And I was like, that would be great because I could wear Live Courageously merchandise instead of Nike merchandise, and that way I can promote a good message instead of some brand that I don't care about and ain't giving me any money or anybody else that I know any money. So so they started pushing me, and then that's why they put together, and then we started picking out what kind of merchandise. So this, for example, this is one of the Live Courageous hats that we tried. It didn't work out that great. We're going to try and come up with a better one because the test model didn't work out, but we're going to have hats. The hoodie is really great. I checked the hoodie out, and then we're also going to get, I have a veteran friend who I will have on my podcast show, Cleo. She designed, she burnt this for me, which is called Live Courageously, a dog tag. Now she's going to send me 20 of them, and then she's going to make 50 more. And so that's going to be something else and then on the back is going to be a message, faith over fear. So since she gave this to me in Arizona, I haven't taken it off. I wear it everywhere. And when I go out in the gym or wherever I am, people come up to me and go, "What's that?" And I'll tell them, and then we'll have a conversation about Live Courageously, what it means and why I'm doing it. So it's kind of great to have these, I didn't think about, that merchandise. That wasn't where I was coming from, but, so we'll see what else. Let me see. I'm going to try and get other people in. Dave says he totally agrees with Karina. Yes. And then, yes, of course, apparel and shoes. And then Lou has the league, and he's going to, of course, follow in this footsteps, and he's going to design his own merchandise for these young women softball players and design stuff in the future for them as well. So that's kind of triggered. That's that ripple effect that I didn't know, you don't know when you do it that it's going to have, but that's what it's all about. George Ohan has always been in my corner, thick and thin. Best wingman I could ask for. Yes, Katrina, right on. Right on. Love those dog tags. Yeah, they're great. And this, this woman has a powerful story that when she comes on the podcast, I encourage you to watch. She was a military police in Somalia. Vet, came home, horrible PTSD, attempted suicide 3 times in a really ugly way, survived, turned it around, and I met her once again by accident on a ship, USS Iowa, at an event, started talking to me, told me her story. She wrote some books of poetry, and I was blown away, and we became friends, and we've been friends ever since. And that's how I ended up with this, and she's given them to me as a gift. So that's so cool.
That's amazing.
More people, Aaron. Yes, back at you. Much love. We need to do a movie with George. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. Live courageously. Yes.
Yes. Let's get that done. Let's do it sooner rather than later. Because then I have an excuse for why I haven't finished my book.
Dude, if I was on set with you and that book wasn't done, you would be hounded every minute.
I know that. I know that. So hey, I'm gonna just jump real quick, and then we'll come back. Stay with us for a second. Lou Simon loves it. Whoops, hold on 1 second. Yeah, he says love it. She says do it. Okay. To y'all, everybody's putting the pressure. Thank you. Yeah, we're gonna do it. So let me just throw up this website just so you can see it. But you can go there, livecourageously.com. And once again, the people who designed it, Thomas Deering, who is the guy who designed it for me, freaking believable. Just what a talent, man. What a talent, and just an amazing person. So let me just put this up there. So this is, what you're going to see when you go there. It has a catalog. It has podcasts, books, and films, including the book that I haven't finished, blog, our stories, and some community stuff. This is a little quick intro from me. Here's all the podcasts, Live Courageously, a community where, this webinar is going to be the beginning of a Live Courageously community, I hope. Blog and newsletter, giving back, and I'm going to click on giving back. So this is one group called the Slave Free Project, and also CERT Ministries. You can reach out to them. They do rescues. I did 2 podcast interview with the person, Rudy Gonzalez, Pastor Gonzalez, a former recon Marine and also a police officer, and his daughter and their family. And they've created an organization for the last 20 years, rescuing young girls from sex traffickers and putting their lives on the line. This is Game Ready Enterprise, which is what Lou Simon is doing. So you can learn more about that as well. And this is another motivational film group that I belong to, Mandatorium Multimedia. You'll see an interview with me in the future on that. And we're going to be doing a couple of feature films together. So that's a little bit of that whole thing. And then the catalog, which, we'll look at apparel, just so that this is just some of the things that we're going to have: hats, hoodies, headgear, T-shirts, shorts, et cetera, et cetera. And then we'll have some other things. Let me look at some of the accessories, a journal, things like that. And then we'll have probably a little bit more like the dog tags and stuff like that when we get them up. And that's the journal that you can get, Faith Over Fear. And that's my book that I'm going to get done for George, if for no other reason. So that's a pre-order. We're going to get it done, because otherwise I'm going to have to do a lot of.
I wish my wallet was sitting here. I'd order it right now. I'm going to go grab. I don't want to get up. I don't want to be disrespectful. But as soon as this is over, I'm ordering one.
Oh, damn it.
If you got an order sitting in the queue, ooh.
Yeah, the pressure keeps growing.
If you got a pre-order?
Everybody says it looks good. Michelle, Dave, thank you, Dave. Lou Simon, thank you. Karina, thank you. So I'm going to try, because I do got to get onto my production crew is sending me texts and messages, and they're like, are you on vacation, Duffy?
Yeah.
So anybody who has any questions, I know you've been making comments and all very kind stuff, but what I want to do with this website is I want to grow more podcasts. I have 75 more podcasts on my plate to do in the future. So that'll take me up to 150 of people I know, and I keep reaching out and making new people to be on my podcast. I do a weekly newsletter called Live Courageously as well, and share what's going on in my world and just positive stuff that I can put out in the world. Obviously support these different groups that are doing good, and then it'll grow. And I just hope to, find ways to bring people in, have these webinars once a month, and just find a way to support all of you with what you're doing. Have a chance to come on and talk about some of the work you're doing and how we can support you, because I want to create that community of people who are, like we've already created behind the scenes, is why we're all on here today. So many of us is to create that even further, and maybe bring more people in and find a way to help others achieve some good projects in the world that they want to do, including that movie with George Ohan that Lou Simon is now put on our agenda to do. So that's
in.
Nice. Yeah, he's in. Let's do it. Any questions? Anything that you want to ask us about? Let me see. I got some. This is so good. Awesome sauce. Amazing. I like that. Awesome. Whoops. Awesome sauce. Yes, I like that. Amazing website from Risa. Thank you, Risa. What's this one? I'm doing it first, George.
He's gonna order it.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Now the people who helped me put all this together, Melissa. Every week we do a call with the team who supports all this activity, and she always goes, "So, how's your book?" I'm like, "Do we have to start with that question?"
Absolutely.
But all of this is it's all gonna happen, as you know, and I'm gonna get it done, and because I have to. Because
John, you have an army of people encouraging you.
I know. Trust me, I appreciate it. I really do. I'm just being funny, but I really appreciate the encouragement and the support and the pressure and the support. The team who did this, Melissa and Kara. Kara's in the UK, and Thomas is up in Canada, and Melissa's down in Florida and Georgia. She goes back and forth. And so, I couldn't be more blessed to have a team like them, what they've done to support me, to encourage me, to push me, and to demand that I do a little bit more. Because I'm like, I'm not doing enough. I guess not. Guess
Nope.
not. So, so I definitely will do it. But questions, that's beautiful, John. Can't wait to read your book. Just remember to breathe and keep striving. George, you as well. Keep being. This is so funny because I have a cousin in the UK, Karina, who that's what, whenever I do podcasts or I do my used to do my show, she would be like, John, could you breathe? I'm like, what's that? What's that? Because I'm always like, I talk like it's in New York. You just got to keep going. It's like you don't got time. Let's go.
Next word.
Exactly. I'm going to take a breath right now for you, Karina. All right. That felt good. Sounds good. You can do it. Thank you. Write the damn book. Oh. George, are you texting people, George?
That's a cool T-shirt. Write the damn book.
You want me to put that on the website? Write the damn book. That might be a good idea. Karina, will you turn your book into a movie?
Hopefully.
I don't know. People have asked me with some of this stuff. I mean, it has the potential maybe, but right before that is the script that I just wrote, which is based on a true story. That's the first movie that comes out of my life that I want to make. As far as my book about my journey from the South Bronx to Hollywood, there's a lot in there. I have to give that some thought down the road. But first things first, I got to complete. I mean, and just to say, I know I'm just teasing, but the book is finished. I mean, it's like close to 250 plus pages. So I do have a finished manuscript of a memoir, but I need to rewrite some pieces of it, and I got to add another chapter or so. But it's there. It's just not totally there. So I got to put in that last effort to get it totally there. So that's kind of what we're going to do next. Good question. What's next for George Ohan? Besides the movie, what else is up for you, George Ohan?
When I get more steam with this Teach, Coach, Mentor, the program is working out for schools. So I need to find more schools who want some next level forward thinking education on their campus, because Kern County here in California has already had us there 4 times. We've been coming back. So now we need to expand into Fresno County. We have Central High School here. In about another week, they're going to get back to us and say yes or no. But the grand plan would be every June for summer school that we provide a 1-month class for filmmaking or some sort of forward technology, how we did with Never Fade Trinkets, with NFTs and metaverse and all this other stuff. Basically bringing the type of education to a school campus that the schools can't get so quickly. We want to be that partner that says, hey, this technology developed really fast, or this thing's happening that could keep the kids really interested in learning what you guys have to offer them. So let's work together to keep the kids interested in learning here at the school. But the schools are kind of restricted in what they could teach, or, their curriculum and this and that. So I really, really need to get Teach, Coach, Mentor into more schools. Through Teach, Coach, Mentor, right now we're finally getting a little steam with the anti-recidivism or the reduce recidivism movement. And we finally got a sheriff's department. We're in talks. I'm not saying we're partnering up or anything yet, but we are in talks. They are interested in learning more about what we're doing. The whole point about financial literacy and Teach, Coach, Mentor is if youth know a way to make money, or if youth know a job skill where they can earn money legally, they're not going to be breaking the law to go make money. So we use the films and the technology as a cool way to kind of keep the kids engaged. But the real behind the scenes is we don't want kids to go to jail, and we want kids to know about their money. So this is a way that we can, educate while using entertainment. That's what's next, is pushing Teach, Coach, Mentor into schools further.
So, one of the other things that, since you put something on my plate and you're putting pressure on me, I'm going to put some pressure back on you. So, maybe take a look at my website. You'll see the stuff for Lou Simon for Game Ready with what he's doing there. And so what I would encourage you to do is to design something for Teach, Coach, Mentor that I can put on my website as well as an initiative that can be supported. And then we can have a time when we can go on another webinar and actually, get into that and try and get people to help promote it out to the schools so you can begin to grow that as well. So let's do that, and let's find a way to support you, because at the end of the day, what this Live Courageously thing is to support each other to accomplish the things that we're trying to do good in the world. So that's definitely one of them. So let's, you're good at this. So you design, look at that and see what you can put together that I can put up there. And that would just be another little push forward. And then it'll go from there. It'll push forward even further. So let's do that.
Will do. Thank you. That's great.
You got it. So I'm definitely, they gave me
you're 20 minutes over, dude. You got to go.
I gotta be off of here in 9 minutes. So if anybody has any other questions, but before we do that, this is Lou saying support each other since we're all on the same team. Exactly. We're all on this. I love that. We're on the same team, brother. So just so I'm going to pick, one of the things I was supposed to do with this webinar, according to my team, is that I'm going to give away 3 gifts of 1 of a journal, 2 of a hat, and 3 of a dog tag. So 3 of you, not 1 of you, 3 of you are going to end up with that gift. So when I contact you, you're going to send me your address, and I'm going to make sure you get that gift.
Whoa, sweet.
So
I'll send you my address right now, Duffy. Thanks.
But, the names have to go into a hat.
Come on, buddy.
The names have to go into a hat, and then I got to have an unbiased person pick it out. I can't let, it's like, you're going to put in 50 names, George Ohan. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, this podcast or this webinar sucks.
That's going to be my Yelp review.
Dude, I'm going to go. I'm going to go to your contact page on your website and start bombing it.
So Dave says, I think you already have my address. Yes, I do, Dave. I definitely do. And maybe I have to go to Louisiana and deliver it personally. I don't know. Maybe that's the only way I can do it and make up. I have some Marine shirts. The dog tags would be perfect. Yes, they would. Yes, you do.
There you go. Exactly.
Damn. Everybody's pitching, man. So anyway, 3 you're going to get gifts. But I'm going to jump off and pick me. George sent me a private message. He's like, "Hey, I just want you all to know he's campaigning here. Vote for George for free gifts."
Hey, it's funny. I thought that was a public comment.
I was like, "Damn, I'm getting hit publicly. I'm private by George." Risa says, "I want the hoodie, please." Yes, that's the one I like the most is the hoodie, Risa. Without a doubt, it's a pretty cool thing. And now George is he's hitting me with nonstop messages, man. Me. That's cool. Any other quick questions? When I got 4 minutes or 5 minutes, and then I got to jump off because I do got to get into what we did today on the getting ready to do the movie. But thank you first. Thank you everybody for. I'm so grateful that so many people came, stayed, communicated, shared, had a great time with us. This was way more fun than I thought I was going to. I thought this was going to be like, given everything else I was doing today, I was like, okay, I got to do it. I'm going to be exhausted, but all right, it'll be what it is, but it turned out to be very special. So I can't but thank everybody. All of y'all made it a special night tonight. So thank you so much.
Dave Allspock's part of the Me Too movement. Look at Me Too.
Have a wonderful evening for both of you. You guys are hilarious. Love you all. Love you too, Karina. Best for you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. All right. I think we ran it all the way. That was definitely fun. Well, thank you, everybody. Have a great night.